the guru of SWAT 00, the assassin like no other. Yes, I'm the best at what I do. One of the most notorious in the YouTube anime manga community. Don't doubt that infamy, please. Yes, I'm back. I've returned from a relatively lengthy hiatus, I suppose. Hiatuses. But no, as I probably mentioned in some older videos, and if I didn't, life transitional period, which is occurring, I'll be more readily able to upload videos, and we'll see. I'll be more readily able to upload videos now. I have a bunch of videos on the backup. I mean, for months, okay? At least 15 videos or so, and you already know I have plenty of ideas I can do at any time. It's just, things have been crazy. Adult life, hashtag adult life, hashtag adult problems. And that's the reality of the situation. Now, Charles Anime World. Captain Charles, why do you tag a brother? Why you gotta bring me out of the time? No, it actually works out perfectly, because it works out perfectly with my life and the transitional period in which I am. And I actually have the energy, the motivation, the passion, the desire to do videos again, as well as to, you know, looking at goals as far as my YouTube channel. Now, some may not think of this as an update video. I don't give a damn. Yeah, y'all know how I get down. I do what I want, when I want to, how I want to. I talk about what I want to, when I want to, how I want to. And I think it's actually pretty applicable on this video. And it's not going to be too long, because I'm not going to do, y'all know when I get tagged, I don't do videos like they expect me to. Come on now. This is unexpected one. This is UW. This is UW. He doesn't do things like everybody else. It's just not how he operates, right? But seriously, it makes perfect sense, because this is talking about a blast from the past with anime. I mean, I've talked about in different times, you know, if you've seen me in live streams and been with me in hangouts, you've just been talking with me, you've seen videos I've done. I think I did Q&A #1. I answered a lot of crap. I mean, a lot of questions. I haven't done a Q&A in at least 6 months. I don't know, it's been a while. But yeah, so how am I gonna do this? I guess I'll talk about my anime experiences. I guess how I got into anime and manga again. I guess certain impactful things and stuff along that nature, and whatever comes to my mind. So, how did I get into anime and manga? If you don't know and you haven't heard the story, I originally grew up with cartoons, okay? Well, literature, bunch of literature, a lot of fiction, let me just put it that way. Not so much books, but just a bunch of stuff. I mean, comics, I didn't get into a great deal of reading, but just knew around, you know, been around. Archie, comic books, superheroes, you name it. Cartoons, oh, you already know, I can name off an entire long list. Gargoyle greatness. Gargoyle's greatness, you know, Superman the animated series, Batman the animated series, Spider-Man the animated series, Johnny Quest. I mean, we're talking from the 60s all the way up to the mid-2000s. Boatloads of stuff. So many series that I honestly have forgotten. So much fiction that I've forgotten some of it. I have to be reminded, okay, of some of the stuff I watch. That's how much we're talking about. So when I talk about stuff, it's not trying to be arrogant. It's the fact is, I've watched and read so much damn stuff, like you won't believe. And with that, you start being able to see things in a different perspective. You really do, especially if you're skeptic, if you're critical, if you're not just into it for entertainment. Fiction actually is a very important part of my life. In fact, it's actually, you know, reinforced or taught me various lessons, whether it be through morality, the way I think, logic and reason, possibilities, concepts, and it really has impacted my life in a myriad of ways. Okay, multiple different methods. Also, as far as even with career, now I can get into that with manga, but it's even impacted my choice of career possibility. So this isn't like people just think of, you know, fiction, oh, you know, it's just this escape. No. If you really take a look at what these different authors and mangakas, these different creators are doing, they're talking about life, and a lot of times in a different manner. If it's not just a completely comedic, as far as funny, even comedy can be, for example, satire can be a great look at the way human screw-ups, humans' weaknesses, follies, and whatnot. It can take a deeper look. It can cause you to reflect upon yourself. It can cause even greater introspection, retrospection, and reflection, contemplation about life. And I've heard plenty of people, including Charles, talk about various series that made him think, made me think. The emotions. It made you realize some stuff even about your stuff that may have been repressed in your subconscious or whatnot. So there was all of that. Various things grew up. I can mention at least 15 different growing up characters, mainly protagonists. I think, were they all protagonists? I can't remember at the point. But they really, I latched onto them for different reasons. And I found out that they all commonalities, and actually explain a lot about myself when you start looking at things. So it's a way to look at things. Now, how does that all go into anime and manga? Anime and manga, start with anime. Anime was this whole new world. Not at the same level of manga, and I'll get to that a bit. But anime was just like, you could tell the difference. I didn't know what anime was till I was a bit, and I didn't hear the name till I was a bit older. Okay? I was watching this stuff since at least I was 5, I would think. I don't even remember the first. People ask, one of the questions was the first. I don't remember. I know the first impactful one. I mean, there was Sailor Moon and a bunch of others at the time, right? Didn't see Yu Yu Hakusho. People talk about Yu Yu Hakusho. Didn't hear about that till I got much later involved with this community, the YouTube anime manga community. But definitely Dragon Ball, Design Legacy DBZ. I think the first I saw was actually, that I really, really saw, was a bit of the Son Goku versus Frieza fight, the iconic Super Saiyan scene. Then you got, the whole Saiyan saga. Went back and I remember seeing parts of the Dragon Ball, early Dragon Ball. We're talking about the 21st, the 22nd, 23rd World Martial Arts tournaments, the Tien Shinhan arc, Piccolo Jr. arc. I mean, greatness, right? Son Goku, and just to see, it changed the game for me. Because no longer, they try to make cartoons, even though that wasn't the case growing up. And I could present stuff like SWAT Cats and, that weren't child stuff, G.I. Joe. But when it came to Dragon Ball just changed the game completely. At the way my generation, series like Dragon Ball, then One Piece and others came along down the road, that is like, yo, this ain't no kiddie stuff. People can get body bag no problem. The animation style was just much different. The artistry was much different. The storytelling. And I think that's what really grabbed me. I mean, there was other series, Digimon, the Digital Monsters, which I need to go back and really get into. Metabots a bit. This later down. Of course, I mentioned One Piece. Y'all already know One Piece. One Piece Beyond Greatness. Beyblade, the original trilogy, so underrated, and Dalton watches it, he already knows. Legendary trilogy, hands down. We're not talking about the Metal Saga, we're not talking about none of that. We're talking about the original trilogy, okay? Beyblade, V-Force, and of course the greatness that is Beyblade G-Revolution. And then eventually there's Bakugan and whatnot. So my history with anime was pretty much a natural evolution. Pretty much me seeking differences, pretty much me accepting differences. And then there was a lull over time, and eventually I remembered series because I remember One Piece from when I was younger, and there's a couple other series, and I got reminded of series like Outlaw Star, yes, Outlaw Star, let's go, Gene Starwin greatness, and that whole philosophical concept. But this is a segue. Now, caught up to One Piece, whatnot. At the time, it was at the beginning of the Punk Hazard arc. An anime, and I was the kind of guy, I was not going to read manga. I didn't see purpose, but thank God for One Piece, because thank Jesus for One Piece. It allowed for literally an open door to a whole new world of experience I would have never imagined. Like, not imagined, but stuff I've been waiting for, stuff I didn't think about. And manga, I've weaned off of anime a long time ago. It's a lot of different reasons. Way easier for me to read manga, way easier for me to catch up. and the imagination and a lot of other elements as well. And usually manga is superior to anime. That's just the reality. That's the reality. Manga is usually better written, um, better done. The atmosphere is usually darker. It's more serious. Uh, the comedy is often better. The animation style sometimes take away from the artistry that is within the manga. Now there are some anime, Dragon Ball for the most part, that does it better than the manga, except for Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super's manga's on point. Hands down is on point. Kira Toriyama on point with that. I know the Naruto anime is better for the most part than the manga. Bleach anime for the most part than the manga. Yu Yu Hakusho, oh, absolutely. Hunter 2011. Now the later part of the series, cool, but the earlier, yeah, Hunter 2011 greater than the manga for the most part. So it's stuff like that. But overall, the manga is that, and oh my goodness, the martial arts genre has that's partially what career path was seriously impacting my life. So there's that. I guess it's a brief look at my anime journey. I know one of them was Anime Crushes. Don't really have that. I mean, there's some females I've attached to. You know, I joke around with, ooh, this certain female, but I don't really have that. I mentioned kind of pretty much the first one that at least impacted me majorly was Dragon Ball. What other things could I say from Blast from the Past? Because most of my anime and manga has been more recently. I guess a good question with this Blast from the Past as to why, if you didn't have this, like some people, this long history with, well, it's decently long, but they're saying they grew up with anime. Let's just put it that way. If you're not an otaku, weeaboo, or anything, why would you latch on to the YouTube anime and manga community? Now, I've talked about reasons in the past as to why I'm in this community, and I've talked to various individuals. But why would I go to this community specifically? You know, there is talking about stuff of love. There is, you know, getting theories, hypotheses, various concepts from other, whether it be commenters or reviewers or whatnot. But I guess being a part of this community, it, with all its flaws, and I'll keep it real, and I've talked about the flaws in the past. What it is, I guess, more than anything else, when I really look at it, as far as the community itself, not the various elements as to why I joined it, why I continue to be a part of it, is I wanted to mature. I want to see salvation. I want to see growth. I want to see positive evolution rather than decaying into death, you know, de-evolution, negative evolution. I want to see that. I see very much potential in this community. Myself and others become leaders in the community. You know, change it to very intellectual part. Change, you know, I want to see, because it's still young. You know, it started out pretty much entirely on YouTube. I mean, there was an anime and manga community online, but the YouTube is something very, it's a phenomenon, really. I mean, you could say, well, the video game community, no, that had long been existed. Various communities that existed on YouTube are just an extension of other things, like the live reactioners. That's an extension of other things. You have the wrestling community, it's long been an extension. But the YouTube anime and manga community is pretty much its own infant of YouTube. You have people from around the world, a lot of people who would have likely never even met, come together and start to form, and trying to form rules with people you don't, you know, trying to form how this goes. And you got this influx of amount of people which societies normally aren't built from. It is a phenomenon in of itself, and I want to see where this phenomenon goes. I really do. And I'm just one of those individuals amongst many I can name. Trust me, I follow many. I wasn't necessarily a founder, but I am one of the OGs, at least a double OG, if not a triple OG at this point. And one of, as I mentioned, one of the most notorious, one of the most controversial, top 10, and one of the instrumental, incremental members of this. It's not a bragging, this is just a reality. And I don't want other members such as myself to leave because of our impact on the history of this community. So fortunately, many of us are still here. But I'm in it for the long haul. I really do want to see a community where I've invested much of my life, I guess you could say time, energy, resource, thought into. I want to see where it goes. And its connection and with a blast from the past are intertwined. I wouldn't have got into anime and manga as much. I wouldn't have gotten as many series recommendations. Wouldn't have stumbled along. I probably wouldn't have went to Manga Panda. Well, Manga Stream doesn't really have a directory. Manga Read, these various sites heavily without whether influence or didn't. Oh, these are some sites. Oh, let me start looking this. Or oh, I like this. Let me start looking this. Oh, you like that? Let me say, let me recommend you start swapping ideas. And what I love about it is this is partially what culture and society is supposed to be about. Swapping of ideas. Okay, dealing with differences, learning how to cope. So much other things about it. So this community, it's a natural extension of my time with anime and manga, because my time with anime and manga is evolving, it's steadily growing and maturing, and pretty much the only genres I've learned even what specifically I don't want, and it's honestly helped in my life, dealing with how to deal with different stuff. This community's helped me learn how to deal with various other individuals, various other viewpoints and views, and in some cases opinions and personal preferences and whatnot. So this blast from the past, it hasn't stopped. It's not nostalgia, it's just ever going for me, probably till my dying day. So I don't know how anyone's gonna take this video, but just final words I suppose you could say is, some things, okay, you can say are left in the past, but generally that's not how life works. Your past continues on. It helped make you or break you. It helped define you or refine you. There's more to be said about that, but your past isn't just the past, because for most people their past continues on to the present and possibly into their future. Some people never live down their past. Some people never forget their past. Some people they want to remember those glory days. Don't be defined by the past, but don't fear the past. Don't try to isolate the past. Let the past embrace the present and future, because it always one in a very cyclic manner, I suppose you could say. Don't let it be too cyclic if it's a situation of abuse or addiction, but learn from the past. Don't be resentful. Don't live in making regrets, but learn from the experiences of the past. Gain experience, gain knowledge, gain wisdom, gain discernment. These things are obviously prevalent in anime and manga, if one pays attention. Unexpected one, like, comment, subscribe, tell me your thoughts. What are some of your experiences with anime and manga over the years? What are some of your favorite series, and why are they? Don't just say, oh, I'm entertained, or I just happen to like this. How has it impacted your life? Because I can guarantee you various characters, various series I could name for a long list of reasons have impacted my own life, have made me think about life, have made me question some things about life, even to a greater degree than I already do, and helped to establish goals and vision at sometimes even dark times. Alright, y'all, have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace.